Live from Grand Forks, North Dakota, and the beautiful campus of the University of North Dakota, from the bowels of Gillette Hall to points of light and hearts and homes across the United States and Canada, it is the University of North Dakota's May 2020 Social Work Department graduation and hooding ceremony. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And with that, Chad, if you would cue up the music, and I'm going to ask my colleagues, the faculty, to please enter the room. And now, if you can hear me over the music, I'd like the graduates to begin entering the room. If you can, alphabetically or however you want to do that. Come on in, folks. Turn the music off here. Thanks, rather abrupt. And faculty, if you would take your seats. Students, if you'd mind continuing to stand for a moment. This is, of course, a very solemn and important occasion. It's also pretty lighthearted. You all know how to work a Zoom room as well as anybody out there. So I'm expecting perhaps some activity in the chat section. Those of you who don't know how to turn on the chat section, you might want to check with one of the graduates. And otherwise, with that, we'll begin. Hello, my name is Brett Weber. I have the honor of being the graduate director for UND's Social Work Department. Welcome and congratulations, dear graduates. You are no longer our students. We are now colleagues. And let me offer a warm welcome to the family and friends of these graduates. I had hoped to get to meet you today. We have often been hearing about you, and I look forward to getting to meeting you perhaps someday soon. Congratulations to you also. Dear graduates, I said something a moment ago, and I want to repeat it now. You are no longer our students. We are now colleagues. I actually never thought of you as my students. Instead, I have enjoyed the rewarding process of getting to work and learn with you. Even better, I look forward to the joy of getting to practice with you professionally. And oh my, there is so much to do. You may recall me telling you in class that ours is the most important profession. I still believe that that was true when you first heard me say it, and it is even more important today. We are in the midst of one of the great crises of the modern era, hopefully the worst crisis of our lives. I believe that things will get better and that they may even eventually be better in the future than they were before this pandemic hit. I also fear that the worst of it is still ahead of us. There is much work to be done, and social workers are going to be central to both surviving the crisis and the rebuilding that will need to be done afterwards. I am sometimes viewed or even labeled as a macro level social worker, but I always insist that I am an advanced generalist, someone who understands the need for social workers to know, embrace, and practice at all levels. Yes, there will be systemic issues, policy and organizational reforms that must be addressed. And when social workers are at the tables of power, where and when decisions are made, it changes the tone of the conversation. We bring a unique set of values, perspectives, and ethics to assure the well-being of all people, and especially the most vulnerable among us. At the same time, while our profession has strong roots in social change, we have evolved to recognize the importance of and address the needs around the mental health issues of individuals. Indeed, with this pandemic, we're understanding perhaps more than ever the intersection of those structural issues and individual mental health. We serve a wide array of needs, and we practice across all levels of practice, from direct practice to individuals to helping educate and guide national policies. These things were all true before the pandemic, and they have both become even more important with the pandemic, and things are rapidly evolving. We live in a very different world than the one inhabited on your first day of social work classes at UND. COVID has fundamentally changed social work practice, and there is no going back to the old normal. Things are not going back to the way they were. Allow me to take a few moments to paraphrase from Justin Miller's recent article in the New Social Worker. He articulated 3 reasons for why we are never going back. First, there are the technological changes. This ceremony offers a clear illustration of these changes, but so did your education. In many ways, technology enhanced your education, creating more dynamic and collaborative learning environments. In similar ways, technology is enhancing, improving, and democratizing our practice. Not too many years ago, the ideas of distance education and distance or online practice were not only seen as perhaps impossible or at least inferior, but even in some ways unethical. Today, telehealth is providing social and mental health services to populations in rural and other hard-to-reach areas. It's providing assistance to people with various mobility and related access issues and other previously neglected or underserved populations. We will not be undoing these technological additions and enhancements to practice. To do so would be foolish, unethical. Second, social work has always required flexibility, but this pandemic has forced us to engage even greater awareness of the present and to be thinking more creatively about the future. The worldwide shutdown has forced us, people everywhere, to think more closely about our priorities. This has had unexpected benefits for the natural environment and may point towards possible tools for dealing with climate change. This has resulted in unexpected savings for many personal budgets. You're no longer having to spend so much time and gas and money commuting to work. We must think creatively about the best use of resources and about prioritizing aspects of practice that we had not previously considered. Again, we will not simply be going back to the way we did things previously. And third, at least third, there's probably many, many more, but at least third, this pandemic has further exposed the fragility and social inequities in the business as usual world we inhabited before this crisis. Despite empty rhetoric about our respect for our elders, the desperate and vulnerable lives of the aged are increasingly and dramatically apparent in the daily statistics we see in the media. People of color, people of social and economic inequities, inequities brought by generations of unfair policies, are being infected and dying from COVID at disproportionately higher rates. We also now recognize that all work has dignity and that all workers are essential, from grocery store clerks to garbage collectors, teachers, and even hairstylists. We see how important all are to the functioning of society. And there are structural issues within our profession. Licensure portability has been debated since the 1930s. We need to assure more robust portability across states and maybe even across countries. It's increasingly clear that we cannot function with a patchwork quilt of rules and systems for telehealth and technologically delivered social work services. Business as usual, it turns out, was not sufficient. Let me quote Miller directly. Moving forward, the way we practice, educate, and research must evolve in a way that not only responds to things that happen, but in a way that anticipates what is to come. And with that, let me repeat what I said at the beginning of this. COVID-19 has fundamentally changed social work practice, and there is no going back to the old normal. Things are not going back to the way they were. Some things remain the same, however. Ours continues to be a unique profession, the best positioned and the most focused on the awesome task of making people's lives better, of improving people's physical, mental, emotional, and social well-being. In the world of COVID and the rebuilding that will come, social workers are more important than ever. My colleagues and myself often refer to graduation day as payday and our chance to face and celebrate the future of our profession. You, my dear graduates, have hard work ahead of you. Thanks for taking on this challenge. So with that, let me say quite simply, we are so proud of you. Now, your families are also extremely proud of you. In fact, I don't know if you can fully appreciate or imagine the sense of relief that many are experiencing right now. This might be a really good time to ask them for stuff. And with that, let me introduce the chair of the social work department, Dr. Kenneth Flanagan.
Good afternoon, graduates. I'd like to join Professor Weber in welcoming you, the graduates, family, and friends, to our hooding ceremony this afternoon. This is certainly a momentous event in the lives of our graduates, and we are glad that family and friends are here to join us to celebrate their achievement. As has been mentioned, this is certainly a historic celebration, as it is a totally remote event, a first for all of us, and one that will always be remembered as special due to the circumstances under which it is being held. You, our graduates, are commencing into a very different reality than any of us could have imagined even 3 months ago. Virtual care is now the emerging field of practice looking into the future. All of you as graduates, as new graduates, will have the challenge and opportunity of meeting and responding to needs in new ways. So as you commence into this new reality, the faculty and staff of the Department of Social Work wish you well, and we look forward to hearing of your accomplishments as you serve the needs of individuals, families, and communities. I would also like to extend a thank you to those who have been involved with planning and making this virtual event possible. Professors Weber and Kitko, Brent Gearhart, the able assistance of Dan Bosey and Chad Bushi from the university's IT department. And I'd like to send out a special thank you to Professor Carol Schneeweiss, who took the lead in facilitating the details for this event and who today is also commencing into a new reality after many years of dedicated service to the department and providing the leadership to our distance education programs. So to everyone involved, to you, our graduates, thank you, and let's celebrate.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Professor Flanagan. As Ken has mentioned, today is a graduation day for the MSW students, but in some ways, it's a sort of graduation day for one of my colleagues. Back in 2007, UND's social work department began its online program. I was a student in its first cohort. Carol Schneeweiss was my toughest instructor, and over the years, she's been a respected and valued mentor. Over that 13-year period, Carol and Karen Lee Barkdale, who served as chair for much of that history, shaped and made the program what it is today. They essentially tripled the number of MSW graduates coming out of UND's program each year. And as the only major US MSW program across the Upper Plains, from Minneapolis to Seattle, they worked to establish it as one of the very top distance programs in the nation. Carol's last official day at UND was yesterday, but we'll continue to call on her due to her rich institutional knowledge. And I don't need to tell you how central she has been to your education. So while it's not listed on the program, and I just bugged her about this over the text and some cell phone chats, I'm going to put her on the spot and ask Carol to say a few words.
Thank you, Brett. Like I'm ever at a loss of words. Those of you who have been with me for all these years know that that's not the case. I'm really humbled that on this first day of my retirement, I also get to help launch you into your new career. Unlike Brett, who says he never thought of you as my students, I always have. Uh, for good or for bad, you've been mine, and I couldn't be more proud of this day when you began this new journey. I was kind of doing the math and realized that you are the end of over 600 students who I've had the privilege of walking beside through this journey. And so, might choke up here. Students are really important to me and to what we do as a nation. And I've appreciated Brett's talk about the things that are new and the things that are different and the wonderful challenges that you will have. And I know that some of those challenges will require you to really flex those ambiguity muscles and not have to have all the answers, and know that you can walk through this and make it good for your clients and as good as it can be for our systems. I know that you'll contribute to those systems and that you'll remember the leadership from so many of our instructors around how do you engage in policy and in research and all of those things that really make a difference, not just from the one-on-one. Today I was in the bright early hours. I was in Menards and with masks on, and other people were there, and I became acutely aware of the skills that we're going to need to hone when we're trying to meet with clients with masks, and that the requirement that we change, that we really stretch our capacity to read nonverbals, to pay attention to our tone, to pay attention to their tone, so that we can understand a little bit about what's going on with them through those cues that we've always relied on from nonverbals. I want to challenge you to stand in front of the mirror and smile, and make sure your smile is moving to your eyes. That's going to be one of our primary modes of communication. Make sure that that smile is there too. This is going to make a big difference in how you join with your clients and how you engage. And with your colleagues. And I don't know about you, but I'm really hungry for a hug from my family. I see many of you have family nearby. I'm hungry for sitting with my friends and sharing lunch with them at a table that's closer than 6 feet. I'm hungry for the sound of a crowd and the energy of the crowd, and having all of you up here today replicates that in ways that I greatly appreciate. And keep in mind that while we feel those things, our clients are feeling those things even more, and that we have an additional responsibility to really walk this path as we understand what they're going through. And we also have a greater responsibility to take care of yourselves. As social workers, we're not very good at that. We're always putting other people first. And so I want to just put my regular little plug in for you to make sure that you remember how important you are, and that if you aren't okay, those around you that count on you won't be okay either. And so take the time and the energy to put into yourself, and make sure that you have what you need to go forward in this challenging world of COVID, that you need to have the courage to do some things differently and learn how to do some things that we didn't teach you in class because we didn't know you were going to need to know them. So have that courage, lean into that, take care of yourself, hug your families, love them in the meantime if you can't by video, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. Let me also reiterate my thanks. Ken has mentioned this. My thanks to Dan Bosey and to Brent Gerhardt. Chad, thanks for stepping in for Dan. Dan is having a bit of an emergency, so our wishes are with him. We hope he's well. Thanks for stepping up at the last minute like this. To all three of you, thanks for your work and not only keeping things running on a daily basis, but also for stepping up and going above and beyond in helping to put this ceremony together. Now I'd like to introduce my teaching colleague, Professor Kelly Gast. Kelly has only been a full-time member of the faculty for a couple of years now, but her impact on the department has already been far greater than that short time would normally suggest. Professor Gast is considered tough but fair, something that I consider to be one of the finest compliments that can be paid to a teacher. As she shares her practice wisdom, she has become a favorite among the students who have chosen her to be the faculty speaker for today's ceremony. I give you Professor Gast.
Thank you, Brett. It's so good to see you all today, and I'm just extremely honored.
Oh yes, clapping is allowed. Clapping is allowed. Yes, yes, please.
We will be
Sorry,
clapping
Tom.
for you, that is for sure.
You can
Absolutely.
turn on your mics too.
I'm honored to be here with you guys, of course. You guys have spent more time with me than you probably would have liked to have over the past year as you endured seminar on those Thursday nights. But I'm just really excited to be here with you guys. And although, Brett, I was not their first choice, I do have to say. No, but we talked about who the students would like to hear from. And one of the things that they had to do in their final exam, if you will, was really draw upon their experiences at UND and their professors and their classes that made an impact on, especially their ethical practices. And so while many of you talked about many different professors and many of my colleagues, one stood out in terms of Professor Deb DeWitts. And Deb is since retired, but I had the privilege to talk with her the other day, and she sent me a little note for you guys. So because I thought it would be fun to share my screen for one last time and hopefully not botch it up in front of your family and friends, I thought we could use this just to kind of go through a few minutes together. All right. So Deb just wanted me to share, and hold on, I gotta get my, she wanted to really just remind you guys to go out and impact others. And so I can't say this like she can, right? But just think of her voice. And she wanted you to think of 4 simple steps. So first, to listen to the situations and the people who pass your life. Everyone can teach you something if you pay attention and keep your mouth shut. Then think about what you can learn from those situations and people. Always remembering to consider biopsychosocial factors, not just from clients, but everyone with whom you have contact with. Educate others, one sentence or one story at a time. Not telling them how to think, but inviting them to expand their thinking and their worldview. You are now social work leaders. Finally, mentor those who come after you. If I truly impacted you through my words and actions as a social work mentor, be someone else's Deb DeWitts and leave them better for having known the professional you. Welcome to the field, my colleagues. Now go forth and advocate. Make sure you find out who is throwing your clients in the river. Don't just pull them out. Deb. So Deb wanted me to share her congratulations and the honor that you had thought about her. And I told her that I'm a winger by nature, so it was lovely that she sent me this first and then I could just go from there. So I was thinking about, because Deb said this nicely, and Brett, you really spoke, and Carol, a lot about how COVID has really impacted our profession, impacted your guys' journey in the MSW program. I wanted to kind of go back to day one and think about what it might have been like for you guys when you first started this journey together. So I thought I'd find a few pictures that maybe fit with where you were at. So the first one is hopefully the first day of graduate school. You were feeling like this little girl, just fired up. And you probably, my guess is anyway, you were really excited, a little nervous about what this would be like. I'm assuming you read through every syllabus. A lot of you probably organized your assignments that first week. And my guess is you probably read every word of every reading assignment those first couple of weeks. Not sure. if that was able to stick or not, but that's what happens when we're excited, where our engagement is high, our productivity is high. And so I want you to remember that day, because that's what it's going to be like as you move forward now into your new careers as MSW social workers. I didn't get to meet all of you this first day, but I certainly spent a lot of time with you in the middle. And I'm thinking that we got closer to this in the middle of your graduate program. And this is where family and friends, I'm assuming you can attest to this better than anyone, that during the middle of graduate school, you guys were working full-time, doing night classes, homework, family obligations, trying to take care of yourselves, ideally seeing friends. And then, of course, this last year, throwing on an internship in the middle of it. I know there are times where you guys were stressed and overwhelmed and felt like, how could you do this another day? I want you to remember this, because we talked about this in seminar. I really hope that you'll never have a time in your life again, unless you do your PhD program, but where you feel this stretched. And yet at the same time, just know that you got through this with grace, with engagement. You guys were still working hard. You still cared. And that those lessons will really help you as you continue to move forward in life. Things will feel, I'm hoping, a little slower and a little more manageable in the future. And so I really hope that you are like this today. I hope you guys are able to celebrate. We're gonna hoop and holler a little bit in a few minutes. Some of you may never wanna write another paper again. That's okay. But that you can just really take this time to be extremely proud of yourself. And so with that, I was thinking about former President Barack Obama is speaking tonight in a commencement graduation ceremony for the world. So if you want a really awesome speaker, you might want to go there instead. But I was thinking about another person that was really influential in the work that we do, and that is Brene Brown. For those of you that don't know, Brene Brown is a world-renowned researcher on vulnerability and shame and empathy, and the work that we are trying to do every day as social workers. And so I found a few of her many famous quotes to finalize my thoughts and what I hope you took away from this program. And the first one is about being brave. Brene writes, "Empathy isn't about fixing. It's the brave choice to be with someone in their darkness, not to race to turn on the lights so we feel better." This is a skill that most or only social workers understand, that it goes against human nature sometimes to sit in someone's darkness. We obviously as humans want to fix, we want to distract, we want to deflect. But the power of sitting in someone's pain, in someone's brokenness, and injustice and trauma is what is going to really allow your clients to heal. And so I want you to remember this quote as you move forward, as you're in a therapy session and you're thinking in your brain, I don't know what to do right now. How do I make this better? That you being there and walking through that journey with someone is enough. And that most often it's not the treatment, of course, is awesome and good. And you guys know how much I love some of the treatments we've talked about, but really this skill is enough to get your clients to where they need to be. I think this one's really fitting for the pandemic, and who would have known that you guys would be finalizing your graduate program in a freaking pandemic, right? How crazy. But the world does need you. Brett talked about this a ton, so I won't reiterate what he said, but I mean, once we beat this virus medically and financially, hopefully, the world is going to need social workers to pick up the brokenness, the grief, the pain, the loss of jobs, the fear, anxiety. And so while we know that the world needs you, I think this quote is really important. It says, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. You have your MSW degree now. That means you get to be picky. That means you get to do what you've always wanted to do, your dream job, if you will. And so go find that passion, go do that work, because when we feel alive and when we feel like that is what we are called to do, we can absolutely take the world on. And lastly, we don't have to do it all alone. We were never meant to. And Brene Brown is so right. Social work can be lonely. It can be an isolated job, you know, ethically and legally bound to not talk about a lot of the things that we do, right? But you are never alone. You have each other, which I love the bond that you guys have with each other, but you also have us. And as Brett said, we are all colleagues together. All of us at UND are cheering you on. We can't wait to celebrate your successes. We're here for you whenever things get hard. And just know that we will always be here. So I'll stop my screen and just say that I'm so proud of you guys. I can't wait to see you go out and rock out this world together. And I'm gonna miss you very much. So take care. Congrats.
Yay!
Yay! Nice job, Kelly.
Yay!
Thank you, Kelly. It's a little hard for me to say this after those wise words, but now we're going to get to the important stuff. In fact, short of the very important work of making sure that you're all hooded today, the next very important thing we have is to hear from the voice of the class of May of 2020, Jonathan Walters. Take it away, Jonathan.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Weber. Welcome, friends, families, distinguished faculty and staff, and fellow University of North Dakota Masters of Social Work graduates. Here we are, our MSW cohort at the final stage of our graduate school education. As we close yet another chapter of our lives, we enter a new chapter equipped with a degree suited for changing and improving the lives of others. It is an honor to be here, speaking in the presence of so many bright, talented individuals in my bedroom. This, as was said, obviously captures the current status of our world, and it illustrates the types of challenges we will endure as social workers. No longer can we take in-person, face-to-face interactions for granted, as we must adapt to these trying times. Now more than ever, our world needs social workers. A core duty of our profession is helping the most disadvantaged people of our society. Through this pandemic, this disadvantaged population is more vulnerable than ever, and the number of those who need help continues to grow. We are amid an unemployment rate at its worst point since the Great Depression. Lower income households who had relied on public schools to educate and provide lunch to their children are suddenly grappling with caring for their families around the clock while still trying to make ends meet. Folks in long-term care facilities are especially vulnerable to this disease. Here in my home, Minnesota, over 80% of COVID-19 related deaths have occurred in nursing homes and residential care communities, the highest percentage rate of any state in the nation. We are in an unprecedentedly frightening and unstable era, and our way out remains unknown. But you know what? Who better to take on these challenges than social workers, dag nabbit? And further still, who better to accommodate to this new normal than a cohort that already has years of experience communicating through such technological mediums as Zoom? How we managed to get through a few semesters with Adobe Connect. Yo, cohort, you remember that garbage? Chad, you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know, Adobe Connect was a computer software with constant technical difficulties. All of a sudden the audio would just cut off. So then for technical issues, you would just click the help link in the top left of the screen. Yeah, but I can't get to the help link because my screen keeps freezing. I was just, going to help you with the, and then it just started it. Sometimes our images would freeze as if we were one of those mudslinging negative political ads on TV. You know, when the screen breaks into slow motion and turns black and white and then stops. Congressman A.J. Craig wants to raise your taxes and take away your freedom. In a world that keeps changing in real time, we need the leaders who can remedy the Adobe Connects of tomorrow. We need leaders who are flexible and adaptable to our ever-fluid global situation. And in all seriousness, it has been a pleasure venturing through this MSW program with a cohort as adaptable, determined, insightful, compassionate, and as talented of a group of leaders as all of you. For the past few years, our cohort has persevered through classes, seminars, papers, and internships, all the while meeting our everyday life demands. Many of us have started new jobs, moved, entered new relationships, had children, lived our lives without ever straying from our academic pursuits. We never let our home lives get in. What? No, I can't right now. We never let our home life, no. You take the cat out. Why do we need to let the cat out? It's a cat. Got a litter box. We never let our everyday issues distract us from our academic lives. Now, much thanks to Amy. What's up, Amy? For contacting a former professor who many of us had the privilege to work with during the program, Deb Dewitz. As Professor Gast highlighted some things Ms. Dewitz had said, she also sent some words of wisdom along to me that I could pass along. First off, she wanted to greet everyone, as Deb would. She'd be like, "You awake in there? Wake up, you sleepy crew." Where is my syllabus? Oh, Deb's assistant is really off today. Where is my syllabus? Something like that. She says she is proud we made it. She advises, remember to talk less and ask, can you tell me more about that? Social work is about asking questions, not about giving advice. I like that one. And then remember that no client planned for their life to turn out this way. So be with the human being who is in pain in front of you as another human being. And finally, she said, you can now friend me on Facebook. So that's pretty cool. Finally, I'm going to put something in the chat here. She also has a TED Talk she did in Fargo that's very good. It's called Live a Life Without Regret. I just put the link down there. For those of you who don't get the link, just YouTube Deb Dewitz. That's D-E-W-I-T-Z. It's the first thing that shows up. It's very good. Her TED Talk has many inspiring things to say about living your life to the fullest. Without spoiling too much, she discusses living as if every day is your last, so that on your last day, you can look back on your life without any regrets. While watching this TED Talk, I felt like this point resonated well with our cohort's graduation day. A few years ago, I remember sitting with my wife just hours before the deadline for applying to this program. I had everything set. My essay, my references, and my application were complete. And all I had left to do was hit the send on the computer. But I hesitated. I remember strenuously wrestling with the dilemma of whether to pursue this. I kept thinking, 3 evenings a week of classes with all those papers on top of it while working during the day? Oh, How can I do this? What kind of a life am I gonna have? So cohort, I ask that you try something with me. A little thought experiment. Go ahead and imagine a clone of yourself. You're a clone, same age, sitting next to you right here, right now. Close your eyes if you need to. This clone is you right up until the moment you decided to pursue this MSW program. Your clone is the you who never took that step, who decided against it, who preferred the convenience of living his or her life without all that tedious schoolwork. Now let me ask you, what kind of person do you see? What's up, clone me? Is he or she identical? Good looking? Looking at you like, what am I doing here? What an existential nightmare this is. Maybe your clone has a few less wrinkles under the eyes from sleeping so much more than you have for the past year. Maybe less financial debt now, for now. But I assure you, you would see a you living with regret. Maybe for some of y'all, not much at first, but this regret would grow in your clone like a thorny, prickly weed. Regret about why you had not gone back to school, why you had not pushed yourself an extra mile to achieve your master's degree. Either way, both versions of you are you. You're both here, being yourselves, but this you, the yous of the MSW cohort, are the ones that have fulfilled the best yous you could be. This you will have no such regret, and you will fondly recall the choice you made when you hit send. Now I want you to take a look at your imaginary clone. Take him by the cheek, caress it a little bit, and smack him on the back of the head and elbow him in the face. Make him disappear, because he's gone. And all that's left is you, the 2020 University of North Dakota MSW graduates. Congratulations and kudos, my cohort. Congratulations, Carol, on your retirement. You've been so much help to all of us since the beginning. Rock on, live long and prosper. Thank you very much. It has truly been an honor.
Woohoo! Nice
Nice
job.
job. Nice job.
That was awesome.
Yes, Jonathan, you captured our group so eloquently. Thank you.
So what did you think of Jonathan's speech? Huh? I had tears coming down with Carol and then with Kelly. And then I had tears coming down with Jonathan for very different reasons. Thank you, Jonathan. Let's jump in and do this. It's time to hood the graduates. Here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to ask you all to sit down now. So it means that's the cue for turning off your cameras. We'll come up just a couple at a time. It'll be a student and their advisor coming up, and we'll be advising. So we'll roll through this according to the program. Please, once again, chat box. You've got microphones. Use them. Let's hear from you for each of our graduates. Let's start off, please.
Bring your families into the room with you too. We'd love to see your families. I'll bring them all.
Good, thanks, Carol. If this was somber at all, it's time for that stuff to be all gone, and it's time to just celebrate. Let's roll with Yvonne Alexander. The title of her independent study, modalities that successfully reduce recidivism in sex offenders with intellectual disabilities. Her advisor was Professor Shea. She will be hooded today by Professor Kelly Gast.
Yay, Yvonne. Woohoo!
That's Yvonne.
Woohoo!
Congrats, Yvonne.
Awesome.
Oh, look at that.
Yay!
Oh, that's good.
I should have yay! We did it!
Yay, you did it. Next, Kayla Ampey. Title, Causes, Assessment, and Intervention for Secondary Traumatic Stress Among Clinicians. She's going to be hooded today by her advisor, Carol Schneeweiss.
Woohoo!
Congratulations,
Good job,
Kayla. Here you go. Virtual hug.
Yay.
Yay.
Here you go.
Got a real hood.
And I have my MSW stepmom hooding me. So
Oh,
Hey.
congratulations. Very proud of you.
Catherine Bice, no longer suffering in silence, the relationship between mindfulness, physical activity, and mental health, being hooded by her advisor, Professor Kelly Gass.
Woohoo!
Congratulations. Congrats, Catherine.
Congratulations, Catherine.
Well done.
Congrats, Catherine.
Laura Bohan, school-based mental health in rural practice settings, being hooded by Professor Barb Kitka.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Laura.
Congrats,
Laura.
Cute kids.
Chase Breitbach, the effects of carbohydrates on mental health and brain disease, what social workers need to know, hooded by Professor Kelly Guest.
Good job, Chase.
Chase.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Jessica Carey, addressing emotion dysregulation in children with autism spectrum disorder, hooded by her advisor, Professor Isaac Kakari.
Woo, good job, Jessica.
Congratulations. Jessica.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Charity Clark, closing the trauma gap by successfully transitioning families from a neonatal intensive care unit, being hooded by her advisor, Professor Karen Lee Barkdale.
I can't see her. There she is, Charity.
Good job, Charity.
On the right side. There you are. There you are. Congratulations. Can't wait to see the wonderful things you'll do. It's been such a privilege.
Congratulations, Charity.
Heidi Dames, best social work practices for work in pregnancy centers, her advisor, Professor Kenneth Flanagan.
Congratulations, Heidi. Here's your hood.
Good job, Heidi.
Yay.
Woohoo!
Good job, Heidi.
Akina Decker, pregnancy loss, infant loss, and grief, program development, being hooded by Professor Carol Schneeweiss.
Hi, Akina. I love seeing your little guy in the picture, too. Here, congratulations. Well done. Very
Congratulations,
proud of
Akina.
you. Take care.
Gwen Fadima, group therapy after mild and moderate brain injury, being hooded by Professor Vince Lindgren.
Congratulations, Gwen.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Gwen.
Hey, Gwen.
Brittany Fody, the history of sometimes conflicting ideologies in addressing systematic problems in child welfare and how this has led to the implementation of the Family First Prevention Services Act in North Dakota, being hooded by Professor Stephanie Homestad.
Congratulations, Brittany.
Yay, Brittany.
Congratulations, Brittany.
Brittany.
Rebecca Glover, identifying domestic violence in primary care settings, hooded by her advisor, Professor Bruce Reeves.
There you go.
Good job, Becky. Woohoo!
Becky.
Good job.
Brittany Gustafson, suicide in the elderly, intervention, prevention, and postvention, again, hooded by her advisor, Professor Bruce Reeves.
Here you go, Brittany.
Yay, Brittany.
Congratulations. And company, sweetie.
Congrats.
Joshua Harris, best practices for working with veterans of American Indian background, hooded by his advisor, Professor Carol Schneeweiss.
Josh, you did a great job. Congratulations. You're going to do wonderful.
Congratulations, Josh.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Jennifer Cook, treatment modalities to consider with veterans diagnosed with combat-related post-traumatic stress disorder, hooded by her advisor, Professor Ken Flanagan.
Congratulations, Jennifer. There's your hood.
Good job, Jen.
Congratulations, Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Congrats.
Patty Kutznia, Mental Health Literacy in the Rural Community, a forum discussing risk factors, warning signs, and access to crisis and preventative services, hooded by her advisor, Kelly Gast.
Who do you have hooding you, Patsy?
I have my daughter, Ashley.
Congratulations,
Have a
Patsy.
wonderful gallery.
Wonderful.
Congratulations.
Amy Lindahl, proposed best practice model for child custody evaluations in Minnesota, being hooded by her advisor, Professor Vince Lindgren.
All right, congratulations, Amy.
Congrats to you, Amy.
Good job, Amy.
Congrats, Amy. Woohoo! All right.
And Shannon Lucy, psychological interventions for patients with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis and their caregivers. Please correct any mispronunciations there. Her advisor, Professor Shea, she'll be hooded today by Professor Carol Schneeweiss.
Hey, Shannon.
Nice
Congratulations on a job well done, and here's your hood.
Nice job, Shannon.
Thank you for asking me to do that.
Yay, we love a guest.
Jamie Lund, connecting adverse childhood experiences and adult homelessness, implications for best practice and compassionate care, being hooded by Professor Vince Lindgren.
Right, congratulations, Jamie. Well done.
Good job, Jamie. Woohoo!
Congrats,
Hey.
Amy.
Oh, and a puppy kisses.
Oh.
And I don't see her on my screen, but there's too many of us. I'm hoping Sarah is here. Sarah Lux, disproportionate minority contact and detention in the juvenile justice system, a review of the Juvenile Justice Reformative Initiative. And I, as her advisor, I get the honor of hooding Sarah. Sarah? Here we go.
Nice job, Sarah.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Sarah.
Good job, Sarah.
And Tanya Lyon, implementation of Housing First, supportive permanent housing due to chronic homelessness and addiction in the Devil's Lake area, being hooded by her advisor, the fortunate Professor Brett Weber. Tanya, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
There we
Good
go.
job, Tanya.
Yay,
Congratulations.
And
Jennifer Modine, post-traumatic stress disorder and the effective interventions, exploring the evidence base, hooded by her advisor, Professor Kelly Gast.
Congrats, Jen.
Yay, Jen.
Good job, Jen.
Congrats to you, Jen.
Camera Monson, does parental employment of well-known individuals affect the academic outcomes and social relations of their children? Hooded by his advisor, Professor Isaac Kakari.
Congrats, Cameron.
Congrats, Cameron.
Yay, Cameron.
Cameron.
Chelsea Ogard, addressing federal mandates for children in foster care in South Dakota, chaired by her advisor, Brett Weber. Hey, Chelsea.
Good job, Chelsea.
Yay.
Congratulations. Christine Norwood, trauma and trauma-informed care, implications for social work practice and healthcare systems. Her advisor, Professor Kenneth Flanagan.
Hey there.
There you go. Congratulations.
hey, Christine.
Congrats, Christine.
Congratulations, Christine.
Jenny Progreva, suicidal ideation among people who are terminally ill, a review of the issue, hooded by her, her advisor, Professor Bruce Reed.
Oh,
Congrats, Jenny.
Hey, congratulations, everybody.
what a beautiful family. Thanks.
Warren Rhodes, best practice guidelines for implementing agency telehealth and telemedicine program, hooded by his advisor, Professor Vince Lindgren.
Congratulations,
Warren.
Warren.
Nice
Good job,
work.
Warren.
Warren.
Some
In
timely
case
work.
anybody didn't see the chat, you have to talk in order for your picture to pop up. So if your name's called, say something.
Say something.
Yes,
Thanks,
we want to
Bruce.
see you. That's good. Good. Thanks, Bruce. Lisa Richmond, developing friendships after master status, conferral, and life trauma, some challenges faced by sex trafficking survivors and sex offenders. Hooded by her advisor, Professor Kenneth Flanagan.
Congratulations, Lisa.
Nice job, Lisa.
Congrats, Lisa.
Allison Schmitz, adolescent suicide prevention, best practices of school-based suicide prevention, intervention, and postvention programs, hooded by her advisor, Professor Barb Kitko.
Congratulations,
Yay,
Allison.
Allie.
Job well done.
That husband in the picture.
And sometimes Tony, but today with the tie, it's Anthony Schnellbach. The need for mental health support resources among veterans in rural areas of Minnesota, hooded by his advisor, Professor Vince Lindgren.
Yay, Tony.
Tony to me.
Tony.
Congratulations,
Good
Tony.
job,
Good job, Tony.
Woo!
Anna Thielen, how to identify symptoms of anxiety in young children ages 4 to 7, hooded by her advisor, Professor Kelly Gast.
Good job, Anna.
Good work, Anna.
Yay!
Yay!
Sarah Thomas, the heart of the interdisciplinary medical team, social workers on care coordinators, being hooded by her advisor, Professor Kenneth Flanagan. Got a house full of
Who's there?
Look at
The
that
whole
family.
family.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Wonderful family.
Jonathan Walters, not the other Jonathan Walters, the one who chose to click send. Harmony Through Harmony, a model grant proposal for the McPhail Music Therapy Program, hooded by his advisor, Professor Karen Lee Barkle.
Oh, gosh.
JW. Woo! Sorry, my congratulations, Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Natalie and my son Clarence.
There they are. Where's the cat?
I think she let him outside.
Okay, just check.
The cat has a box, it's okay. Edwin Wong. Edwin,
Yay!
you've been here for a little while. Congratulations, sir. Employed
Thank you.
social work practice, following your own path, hooded by your advisor, Professor Kenneth Flanagan.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
Good job, Edwin.
That's a beautiful family. Wow. Congratulations.
Hi, everybody.
Best tenacity in the world. Great job.
Man, 4 years?
7.
7. Oh my goodness.
Tenacity every semester.
Yep.
And things
Good
are
job,
drawing to
Edwin.
a close here, folks. Carissa Seltinger, integrated skills group designed for people with severe mental illness. Her advisor, Professor Craig Burns, she'll be hooded today by Professor Kelly Gast.
Yay, Carissa.
Yay!
Great work, Carissa.
Nice job, Carissa.
And with that, folks, we kept it under, it's 1:58. Why don't we end graduation a little bit early today? And let me say one more time, congratulations to each of you, to your family and friends. Nice work. We're very, very proud of you. Thank you. Now.
Everybody come back up on camera for us.
Yes, everybody stand up again, please.
One more thing.
Cue the music.
One more thing.
Hey, Brett, did you call Jennifer Kukuk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probation officer, is that you?
That's me.
No, Chase.
Oh.
That's me.
You're going to be a probation officer?
I supervise a probation office currently.
Good for you. All right.
So is one of you leading this?
All
Or
right,
is there
guys.
anything in particular?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yep, everybody put your cameras up.
Raise your
We're
glasses.
going to do the mugs.
Raise your glasses and please repeat after me, guys. Class of 2017, 2018 MSW. Repeat after me. We've been there.
We've been
We've
there.
been there.
We've
We've
been
done
there.
this. We've done
Done
this.
this.
What's next?
What's next?
What's next?
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Hey, cheers.
I'm gonna say next is we're all bad asses. We did it.
We did it, you guys.
Yeah.
Throw your hats up in the air now.
Right.
I moved my tassel to the other side.
There you go.
Dad, do you have a
Cue the music and the congratulations.
Yes.
Yes.
Congratulations, y'all.
We did it, you guys.
Congratulations.
Woo!
And Chad, how about if you shut off the recording now, and we'll leave the room to the graduates and they can hang out and do whatever they think best now. Thanks,
Should we
everybody.
put you guys on for the group hug?
Congratulations, you
Bye.
guys.
Thank you, everybody. I couldn't have done this without all of you.
Miss you guys. Get together soon.
Yes, we're gonna have social work camp.
Bye, guys. You're all awesome. Thank you.
I know, right? Bye, everybody. We did it. Thank you, Jonathan. That speech was amazing.
Thank you, Jonathan.
It lasted
That was amazing.
the whole time.
Thank you, guys.
Can you believe we did it?